get my 6. Folks, we've had another top clearance whistleblower come out to expose some government secrets. This whistleblower claims to be in full knowledge of certain programs that are widely known of but are considered to be conspiracy theories. Again, why? Why the attachment of the term conspiracy theory? That way, anybody who questions these things would be considered crazy and unbelievable. It's that simple. Everybody knows that. Before we get to the whistleblower's testimony that came by way of anonymous email, let's get to a couple others first. This email was sent anonymously. Listen to what happens when you expose those within the deep state or those close to them. Dear Kevin, my husband was 23 years in the Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant. After he retired, he became a private investigator with his son. They ended up putting Bill Clinton's brother in prison. At the time, Bill Clinton was governor of Arkansas. This is when the drugs came into the state en masse. He has been targeted ever since. His son is dead. Right after this was over, he was murdered. His sons were taken by someone else that had a lot of money, and my husband has not seen them since. We've been together for 5 years. The above happened before I met him. When I moved in, strange things started happening, and I started feeling really bad. He has lost 3 other wives before I got here. I knew something was happening because I have spiritual ability. Now listen, folks, this next part might sound a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I don't believe it is. Listen. I went and got a huge roll of aluminum foil at Sam's. I brought it home, took enough off the roll-off to cover him from head to toe in the chair. He usually sits in the living room. I told him to hold his breath and don't move, and we kept hearing pings on the foil. I don't want you to think that's something it's not. That's a shadow from the phone. And plus, I've got to be aware of my surroundings. I got to know if something's coming up on me. All right. Conspiracy theories and people wearing tinfoil hats have been a big joke, but there's a major truth to these things. I know all about frequencies. They can be used in a way to help your health or to harm you depending on the frequency or the microwaves. I then asked him to go lay down on the bed, and I covered him with the foil again and asked him to do the same thing, and sure enough, it just kept pinging the foil. So imagine this. He's covered in foil, and they can hear ping. Can't see anything, but they can clearly hear it hitting the foil. I don't know what it is, and I don't know where it's coming from. All I can tell you is my health has gone down fast, and with the fact that he's already lost 3 wives, I know something is going on. I also know that the foil works because it is soundproof. You can use it to make a Faraday cage. I tried to make this short and sweet and get straight to the point. I shoot straight from the hip, and I don't need to say a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be said. Kind of unlike me. I just get to the point, which is what I did. Thank you for your time. P.S. Everyone should try the foil thing. See if you get pings of stuff hitting the foil so hard that it actually moves the foil. That's what's happening over here. I don't expect any answers. I just know something's going on. I have proof on video. Thank you, Anonymous. Listen, Anonymous, we're going to put this to the test this evening. I want to announce right now, it's Sunday, February 9, 2025, 7 p.m. this evening, Sunday. It's going to be Super Bowl Sunday, so we might not get that big of a turnout for this. Matter of fact, let me back the time up just in case. 6 p.m. Sunday, February 9, Super Bowl Sunday, 2025. We're going to do a members-only live stream, and I will wrap my head in aluminum foil, and we will see if we hear any pings. All right, and I'll tell you a bunch of stuff about our recent trip to Florida, to Key West. We spent 8 days in Key West, 2 weeks total for the trip, a day short, just about a day short of 2 weeks. The things I saw in the sky, you guys think that chemtrails are gone since they defunded USAID? You're wrong. Look, you're wrong. That's what they want you to think. It's dissemination of fake news. Again, All right, now let me get on with it. Let me get to another one. And hey, I know you're amazed I made it back. We're going to talk about how we slipped Mr. Professor Slippers this evening in that live stream. All right, now I want to ask you a question before I get on to the next email we received. The next one comes from Jenny in North Carolina, who's given us permission to use her name and share her story. Think about back when our government used to give disease-ridden blankets to the Native American Indians. Just keep that in mind as you listen to this story. Jenny writes, "Hi, Kevin. I'm Jenny from North Carolina. You have my permission to use this with my first name. I'm a fan of your channel and have commented once in a while. First of all, I'm praying for you and your family. Please stay safe. I think I may have commented on a video about my birds. Not my birds. We've had 2 separate days of swarms flying over. There's a low boom, the same kind of release sound when a huge firework is shot. After each boom, it's like thousands of birds fly over. They are blacker than black. I'll include some pics," which she did, and they are. They're blacker than blackbirds, if you could imagine that. My question is in regard to parasites. Now, folks, pay close attention because we've been hearing about this. All of my animals suddenly caught mange. My 5 dogs, 2 cats, and 4 raccoons. I've had to have them all treated twice, and now I have it. I've been to see my doc and two dermatologists. The meds have not worked, so I'm referred now to Wake Forest Dermatology in Winston next month. I don't think this is a simple normal mite, as the docs pretend it is. I'm losing weight by the day and losing hair. The itching is beyond severe. Kevin, I've heard of bioweapons. You mentioned your quail had parasites. She is confused. I am unaware of my quail having parasites. All I know is the deadly fog and snow came in, and the next day 7 of 8 of them were dead. Okay, and she asks, it's like my animal, or she states, it's like my animals caught this overnight. I may end up just going to the ER if this gets any worse. Have you heard anyone else describe parasites at all? Through all that's been happening and what it might be? I believe it began the first time those birds came, and I believe those birds were purposely released. Any ideas? Thank you for all you do. I hope your family can have some peace and downtime. Best wishes, Jenny." Thank you, Jenny. And folks, we've all been hearing about the parasites and the mites and why somebody who was just recently been fired was trying to ban nicotine. Is there a connection? So at this point, I want to point out that this video is partially brought to you in part by my novel, From the Graves of Babes. This, shortly after its release in 2012, spent 6 months as Amazon's #1 rated novel in customer satisfaction among all ghost stories. This is a full-length novel. It's a ghost story based upon historical fact. It's set in a real location. And by the way, when it went to #1, it beat out a book you might have heard of. It was called A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Yes, Ebenezer Scrooge had set #1 on top of that throne for years before From the Graves of Babes came out, beat it down to #2 and sat there for 6 months until Christmas rolled around. And Charles Dickens came back, and this went down to a number 1,118. But it's a really good book. You can get these in print or Kindle from Amazon, or if you want a personalized message on the back, that's why we kept the back of these print copies of the 10th anniversary blank. You can order them from our Etsy store. The link is in the description box below, and I will personally autograph it for you with a personal little message. And also, if you're a channel member, please notate that with your purchase, because you will also receive a free copy of the only romance novel I've ever written. It's called The Box. Wrote it many years ago. There's me with no hair and my beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and our wonderful son Daniel before he was as big as me. Free copy for all channel members. So please notate that with your purchase. Now comes one of the best stories I've heard in a while, because it doesn't make any sense. And you remember Mark Twain said, writing fiction is harder than nonfiction because fiction has to at least make sense. That's how I know that this next anonymous email is 100% real, because it makes no sense. But listen to this. We've been talking about the concept of drones actually going into people's houses, UFOs, UAPs, all sorts of unexplainable phenomena. This anonymous emailer writes, I was suffering greatly with sciatica when this happened to me. I got up in the morning around 6 a.m. in tremendous pain. I carefully walked downstairs and crossed the kitchen to the family room. While doing this, I noticed that one of the three glass door kitchen cabinets was making a distinctive vibrating noise. I finally made it to my easy chair in the next room. After sitting down in my chair, I looked up at my stone floor to ceiling fireplace. It was not lit. And I saw what looked like a 5 by 9 inch transparent oblong shaped box with two transparent spheres in it about 9 feet in the air in front of the stones. I thought for a moment that I was having eye problems, so I looked away for a few seconds to see if the thing would follow. It did not. I looked back to the fireplace and it was still there. I decided to ignore it. After about 15 minutes, I looked again and it was gone, but the cabinet door in the kitchen was still vibrating. So I opened and closed the door and it stopped vibrating. This incident occurred in October of 2023. I was not on any medications that could have interfered with my perception. Do not use my name if you choose to read my incident in your video. I mean, it sounds like potentially, now listen, the next message is from the top clearance government and whistleblower. He or she mentions technology in their email that would completely justify the existence of the story we just heard, the whatever that UAP was in the story we just heard. So easy to believe. If you have a story that you would like us to share, you can email it to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, let us know that and we won't use your name. You must give us permission to share your story. If you want us to mention your name, we will. Just let us know. And FYI, we have received literally thousands of these stories that we have not been able to air. Those stories are being put together and included in our True Haunted series. People's personal stories of their real experiences with the supernatural, paranormal, UFOs, cryptids, aliens, abductions. That entire series is available on Amazon in print and Kindle, and the link for that is in the description box below as well. Now, here's the headliner. This is a message from Anonymous 20. It was actually sent about a week ago while I was in Key West, and I mentioned while making videos every day on that vacation, which was really a boots on the ground where the rubber meets the road research expedition down at Ground Zero, Florida. I received this and I mentioned I would go back and get through all those emails. I'm glad I did because that's where I found this one, sent on January 27th. Our writer writes, I wish to remain highly anonymous. Brief summary of me. I've been in the military for 23 years now. First, I was a Marine, then did 4 years Omega 20. Now I'm in the highest of the highest top secret Black Op branch. I've held a top security clearance for 15 years. Now I have clearance even above that I will not name. I'm just going to give you a brief summary list of what the U.S. has been involved in and secrets that are being kept from the public. Some of these secrets are already out there, but labeled as conspiracy. Again, so if you're caught talking about them, people will think you're crazy and there's no way it could possibly be true. However, these are 100% real, our emailer writes. Some of this will absolutely seem crazy and like a fantasy novel. I get that. It took me a long time to believe it myself. Some of this stuff still baffles me to this day. Here goes. The U.S. has possessed gravitic propulsion technology, anti-gravity technology, for 4 decades. 40 years. These vehicles can travel 40,000 plus miles per hour and carry an unlimited weapons payload. One major project involved within this operation, Project Crystal Knight, a subject of Project Serpo. All people within these have been sheep-dipped. The U.S. also possesses cloaking technology for these vehicles and others. The U.S. possesses zero-point energy and has had it operational for 6 decades. Yes, Nikola Tesla was the sole discoverer of this. The U.S. stole it from him. This technology could change humanity in an instant and be 100% free of charge. But money rules. If you can't put a meter on it, So we leave so many people around the world. 80% of the world's population, if you didn't know this, survives on less than $2 a day. So we're leaving those folks in the dark without water. If electricity is required to get that water from the well to the house, because we can't put a meter on it. That means you can't charge for it. There's no profit in free. Sickening. Continuing. We have bases on the far side of the moon and Mars. We also have planetary supply and scout spacecraft. The project is called Solar Warden, Project Solar Warden. Aliens are real. We have 8 of them and 7 of their spacecraft. We work with them. Yes, the FDR and alien treaty is real, and that is what created the Galactic Federation. Aliens walk among us. Some look like us, like the Nordics, and some can shapeshift. This Galactic Federation runs the world. And I want to stop right here and point out to you long-term viewers of this channel, folks who have been watching for many, many years, how many times have you seen something in the background that looks like, this is because folks use this as an example from the movie Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, some sort of glitchy type, similar to what the other anonymous emailer described seeing in front of their stone fireplace when they were suffering from sciatica. How many times have you seen that in these videos? That's where the beginning, get my six comes from. While I'm out here yapping, there's stuff going on back here at times. He's talking about it right here in this email. Continuing. There's several types of alien species on this planet and have been for millions of years before us. Some are benevolent, which means they're not bad, but the vast majority are not. Wait a minute. Benevolent means good. Yeah, not bad. Is that right? I might have it backwards. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, which I'm sure you will. The difference between benevolent and malevolent. I always get it backwards. The benevolent ones do not live on this planet anymore, but have been trying to come back. These would be what people would call the draconians. They are the ones that started a universal war which decimated Mars. Mars was a sister planet of Earth. It's still habitable, unlike what the scripted media portrays it to be. Now, the fog, our anonymous emailer continues, serves 2 purposes. Listen closely, folks. It's poison. We're literally being poisoned by our government, population control. And that's why I went to Florida. It wasn't just to go parasailing and snorkeling at Key West with my beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, and our wonderful son, and to get a 2-week break from winter. Waiting for all the snow and ice to melt around here, which was everywhere when we left. No, that's just some things we did on the side. It was a true boots on the ground, real life, real world research experiment. And we saw the chemtrails. The one I showed you earlier? Look at this. That's how it starts. Now look, if you were to look up there now, you'd say, where'd it go? Well, it looks like it's gone. No, it spread. That entire cloud was once, probably 3 hours ago, a chemtrail. And we saw that heavier in northern Florida than anywhere on our trip. Northern Florida, southern Georgia, almost all the way up to Savannah. The struggle's real, folks. Continuing. So population control, number 1. Number 2, it burns very hot and fast. And these are the emailer's words, not mine. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but he then or she mentions LA wildfires, which were started by a dude just like Maui. Okay, continuing. There's 2 reasons why we're seeing all the drones and ships coming out more than ever now. This is what this person is claiming is the reasoning behind all the drones that mysteriously nobody other than this channel and a couple of others seem to be talking about anymore. Why is that? A galactic war is literally going on right now between Earth's friendly aliens and the Draconians. The Draconians have been building up their forces for thousands of years just to try and come back to Earth and take it over for the resources. All the drones you're seeing are the friendly ones. They're showing themselves for 2 reasons. 1, they want us to know they exist finally and are slowly showing themselves so we can become aware of them and make us become used to them being around so it doesn't cause mass panic and hysteria. They will be revealing themselves either this year or next, depending on our reactions. They're monitoring everyone closely for this. And then secondly, they're also revealing themselves because they are fed up with our government hiding the truth and us humans destroying their planet. They think we're ready to accept them, and also, and this is a big also, because we are on the brink of World War III. And they do not want to see any destruction on this planet, even though they can stop our missiles in flight, and I have a video of that as well. They want us to resolve our problems peacefully without intervention. So there you have it, folks. I believe every word of everything I read from these emails that came in, some overnight, some over the last couple of weeks. If you have a story that you want shared, you can send it to the channel. Again, the email address is crazylake@mail.com. You can get all these stories plus those that we haven't had time to air again on Amazon and print and or Kindle in the True Haunting series. Remember, 6 p.m. this evening, we're going to do a members-only live stream, and I am going to wrap my head with foil, and we're going to sit there and listen to pings while we talk about my family's trip down to Key West, all the way down the eastern seaboard, 18 hours driving time total, except for on the way back when we added a few hours to kind of elude a certain fake professor. I don't even think the professor's real. He strikes me as a type of person who doesn't have the work ethic within him to actually sit and take the classes and do the work required to get a PhD and then come up with a doctorate and a thesis and to defend it. I don't think he's any more of a professor than one of these fake people that go around claiming to be veterans that aren't. What do they call that? Stolen valor? People who maybe were in ROTC and therefore claim they've earned the right to refer to themselves as a veteran? No, you haven't. If you don't have a DD-214, you are not a veteran. And guess what? If you don't have a PhD or an EDD, you're not a professor. You're fake. You think you're the one targeting others? You think you're the one doing the gang stalking? We are in a very secure location, and we've got something for you. You need to think again. Professor Fancy Shoes, who's not even a real professor, you bum. Come at me, brah. See all of you for more next time.